Hello, hello, hello. It is August. I know, right? That has come around so fast. And today we're talking about all of the witchcraft and pagan book releases for this month. While once there were just a few witchcraft book releases at any given time, now there seems to be hundreds. What do you get? What do you leave? What looks interesting? What doesn't? So today we're going to be covering a lot of the new book releases. Definitely not all. I will certainly have missed some by accident, but I try to include as many as I can. Now, I don't want you to feel as though you need to have hundreds of books in your magical library to be a successful magical practitioner, because you don't need that at all. Instead, I want to view these videos as a way of being more discerning about our book purchases. Now, there are some links down in the description box if you would like to learn more about these books. These are affiliate links, so that means if you purchase through them, I will get a little bit of extra money to go towards the channel. But I would actually recommend, if possible, to go to small independent businesses, because they're the people that are really struggling right now. But those links are down there if you do want some more information. And with that being said, there's quite a lot of books this month. And so this might take a while. So I would recommend grabbing a drink, grabbing a snack, and let's see how quickly I can go through these. Throughout this video, I'll probably be giving you some of my opinions on different books, whether or not I'd get them or not, based on my own experiences. And I want you to all remember that they are just my experiences. My knowledge and my understanding of the magical world is not the be-all, end-all of everything, and so I'd love to hear your opinions on all of these books down in the comment section too. We're starting this on the 3rd of August. This release is actually in the UK and USA. And it might seem a little bit out of season, but it actually does make sense. It means that people can buy the book and get the information before they're going to need to use it. This is Wreathcraft, Winter Sigils and Yuletide Spells. It's your guide to transforming seasonal decor into sacred ritual. Now, as much as I don't want to admit it, we are kind of barreling towards Yule. It's coming real soon, and that's actually kind of alarming. So I like that we're getting this in advance, so if it's something you would like to incorporate, you have the opportunity to do so. Now, this is going to be available on Kindle. That's why it's coming out at the same time in 2 different places. Usually when that happens, it's because there's a Kindle edition. So, more information about this one. More than a symbol of the holidays, the wreath is a spell circle woven with intention, sacred geometry, and the spirits of winter. This beautifully crafted book invites you to explore the ancient and magical art of wreath making through the lens of modern witchcraft and solstice tradition. Each chapter unveils a layer of power, crafting with evergreens, inscribing seasonal sigils, embedding botanicals for wealth, clarity, love, or protection, and invoking ancestral energies that return with the snow. You'll learn to create wreaths aligned with the winter solstice, Yule, and New Year, discover chants, mirror rites, and bell wards, and activate your creations through voice, light, and ceremonial breath. Whether you hang it on your door or place it upon your altar, your wreath will become a living talisman, a guardian, a joy-bringer, a vessel of winter's deep magic, perfect for witches, herbalists, ritualists, and spiritual creatives. Wreathcraft turns a beloved seasonal tradition into a powerful tool for transformation and protection. Spin the circle, stir the frost, craft the season into spell and symbol. Let your wreath whisper power at the turning of the year. That one sounds really good, doesn't it? I think that one sounds incredible. I'm actually really tempted to get this one because I don't think I have a book that goes so in-depth on this topic. A lot of books will sort of vaguely mention it, but they won't go as in-depth as this. With these videos, I do try to include a variety of different topics. So it's not just things that I would personally practice, it's not just things I would personally learn about. I try to get so many different aspects of the craft. And the next one is definitely one for people who are very heavy into the history aspect. If you're more into the active craft, maybe not for you. But this is Prophets and Witches, Witchcraft, Gender and Politics in Revolutionary England. Now, this is coming out on the 4th of August in the UK and USA. Prophets and Witches offers an exploration of female prophecy and witchcraft during the political and religious upheavals of the English Revolutionary period from 1640 to 1660. The religious fervour and end-of-days enthusiasm precipitated by the Civil War opened the door for unprecedented numbers of women to achieve visibility and spiritual authority as prophets. However, as self-proclaimed instruments for God's spirit, these women were also exposed to a charge of demonic possession or witchcraft. This book explores both the gender and political elements at work in the construction of the prophet as a witch. It uncovers the role of witchcraft in the dominant political and religious debates and power conflicts of the time, which provides a crucial framework for the female prophet's transformation from a divine instrument to a demonic witch. This study of the early modern prophet and witch reveals the fluidity and, at times, close relationship of these assumed opposites. This book is a valuable resource to students and scholars of early modern England, the English Civil War, and all readers interested in female religiosity, prophecy, witchcraft, demonology, and early Quakerism. So it's definitely not going to be for everybody, but I think for those of you who are very interested in deep diving into history, that one's going to be more for you. Another that's coming out on the same day, UK and US, on the 4th of August, this is Witchcraft, Your Plain and Simple Guide to Spells, Rituals, and Tools of Modern Wicca. This was previously published as Wicca Plain and Simple, which is a book I actually already have in my collection, so I'm definitely not going to be buying this one again. You might already have it in your collection too. It is a fairly small purple-covered book with a white pentagram on the front and some white writing. At least, I think that's what it is, if my memory doesn't fail me, which it usually does, so don't take my word for it. Longtime witch and author of the best-selling Wikipedia, Leanna Greenaway takes a modern perspective to witchcraft and shows you how to use it as a healing and positive force. Practice magic with tarot cards, agents, and pendulums. Cast love, health, wealth, family, happiness, career, and blessing spells. And discover which herbs are beneficial when conducting spells and rituals. Greenaway makes these practices meaningful and accessible by providing a basic understanding of the key elements of lunar magic, initiation, herbs and gardens, pendulum power, and animal magic. Eminently practical, this book also includes over 25 spells for beginning practitioners on topics that range from fertility and money to love and much more. Now you know I already have this book in my collection from the original publication, but if I didn't, would I get it again? Honestly, probably no. It is a beginner book on Wicca. Even if the title says witchcraft, this is a book on Wicca. And so for me, at this point in my magical practice, it's not something I really need. If you're a beginner, sticking with beginner books makes total sense because a more advanced book might be kind of confusing and potentially overwhelming. But if you're a more advanced practitioner, going for only beginner books might feel a little bit hollow. You might not get any additional information out of it. But personally, having read the original version as well as the original edition of Wikipedia and the hardback edition, I've never been a massive fan of the writing style, with topics being included that I found rather confusing for a book on the topic. Now, as I mentioned earlier, that's just my opinion. If you are planning on getting a book though, literally any beginner witchcraft book, I would recommend going for other resources as well. Whether that is another witchcraft book, whether that is a book on beginner Wicca that's separate from this, I would always recommend having multiple different authors' perspectives on the same topic because it helps us to build a more well-rounded practice. If you would like my recommendations for beginner witchcraft books, I will leave them linked up here as well as in the description box. Next up, we have a book I already spoke about last month. It's previously released in America. Now on the 5th of August, it's releasing in the UK. This is Strixcraft, Ancient Greek Magic for the Modern Witch. Let the author be your guide as he takes you into the magical and mystical world of the Strix. Containing information that was once hard to obtain, Strixcraft combines contemporary ideas with classical concepts. Within this book, you will find instructions for speaking with the dead and communing with spirits, gods and goddesses, learn the relationship the Strix has to Greece, its folklore, and its approach to a myriad of problems a witch can face. This book takes ancient practices and makes them a part of everyday life, enchanting every aspect with the power of the Strix. This title was previously published in 2020, so if there's a chance you might already have this one, do double check before you purchase it. Now, one thing I feel I really need to emphasize is that this book is not going to be 100% purely historical witchcraft. This is very much a style of practice that draws on pre-existing belief system and tradition and spells and rituals, and then incorporates it and adds it into a modern style of practice. So this is very much one for those who want to apply history into real world situations, rather than someone who, say, just wants to learn about history. And I say that just because I read a few comments about the book, and I think that they perceived the book as being something totally different than I saw it as being, but I will be interested to check this one out and give it a read. Now, next up is another that we did speak about last month, also coming out on the 5th of August in the UK, already released in the US. This is Raven's Call, a quaint and curious anthology of forgotten lore by Raven Grimassi. Now, I mention this every time, just in case you aren't already aware. Raven Grimassi sadly passed several years ago, and so the books that are being published and republished now are drawn from pre-existing material that is being compiled together into books. Raven's Call is a captivating collection of articles and essays from the archives of the late Raven Grimassi. This anthology explores the rich traditions of Wicca and witchcraft, delving into many subjects including rituals, symbols, sacred tools, and magical mirrors. It includes reflections on initiation, moon rituals, and folklore, offering a glimpse into the diverse practices that have shaped the craft. Rediscover the timeless wisdom of these unique perspectives and immerse yourself in the enchanting world of the occult. So I think this one looks really interesting, especially if you love the work of Raven Grimassi already. I do have several books of his in my collection, and I do find a lot of them to be quite interesting. I might not apply every aspect of them to my craft, but I do very much enjoy reading them, and so if you were a fan of his work, then this is something you might want to be adding into your collection. Now, most of the books that we spoke about last month are actually all coming out on the same day. This one previously came out in the UK, now on the 5th of August it's coming out in the US. This is Karma's a Witch, A Modern Witch's Guide to Protection Spells and Karma Magic. The Modern Witch's Guide to Protection Spells and Karma Magic has over 60 spells. Whatever energy you put out into the universe will eventually return to you. Karma is an incredibly strong force, and it is vital you learn how to protect yourself from such negative energies. In this essential guidebook, you will discover the transformative power of karma magic, and more importantly, how to craft your own spells to shield yourself from the people who are trying to harm you in some way. Covering all modern situations, Karma's a Witch contains over 60 easy banishing and protection spells that you can refer to again and again. You will also find tools and advice for the contemporary witch, including how to harness goddess energy to enhance your spell work, and what plants to grow in your witchy garden. Whether it's an ex who just won't leave you alone, a boss who takes credit for your work, or a friend who stabbed you in the back, this book will help prepare you for all situations. It is not about getting your own back, it's about protecting your peace by giving karma a little nudge in the right direction. The contents include modern witchery, a brief history of witchcraft through the ages, and how it differs to witchcraft today, the best tools for witches, a guide to everything you'll need from candles to cauldrons, how to grow the perfect witchy garden, discovering which herbs are crucial for your spells, simple karma magic, all the essential spells from freezing a toxic person from your life, to returning a curse, to protecting your home from negative energy. Now, if you watched last month's video, which I know many of you already have, you'll already know my opinions on this, so I'm not going to go too heavily into it. Now, I said last month that we were going to be having some calendars, datebooks, diary type things being released, and there's quite a lot of them that come out in quick succession. This continues because typically these things will be published in America before they're published elsewhere. By the way, I haven't already mentioned it. I'm not sure if I mentioned it last month either. If you aren't in the UK or USA, that's just where the majority of my audience comes from, so that's primarily what I focus on. You can also find out when these books are being published in your area by simply typing in the name of the book and then publication date in, and then put your country's name into a search engine. Now, with that being said, if you are getting an ebook or a digital copy of that book, it's usually available on the same day as the American release. It's usually paperbacks and hardbacks that take a little bit longer, and audiobooks take longer still. On the 8th of August, we have Llewellyn's 2026 Witches Companion, Community, Connection and Belonging. We also have Llewellyn's 2026 Witches Datebook. We have Llewellyn's 2026 Magical Almanac, Practical Magic for Everyday Living. We then have Llewellyn's 2026 Sabbats Almanac, Rituals, Crafts, Recipes and Folklore, as well as Llewellyn's 2026 Witches Spell a Day Almanac. Is that all of them? No. We then have, oh my goodness, Llewellyn's 2026 Witches Calendar. Is that all of them? Yes, I think that's all of them. Quite a lot coming out in quick succession. You do not need all of them. You probably don't need any of them. If I were to go for any of them personally, I would go for the Witches Spell a Day Almanac. I always think that one is so interesting. I've had it before and I've really enjoyed it. And I also really like the Magical Almanac, which is their practical magic for everyday living. I think those ones are really, really good. They also make really good gifts as well. So if you want to buy a witch in your life, something that they're probably going to find really useful, that's pretty affordable, I do think that these books are pretty good. I've been given them as gifts before and I absolutely love them. Also coming out on the 8th of August in the US, but with future dates to come. I believe it's coming out in September, but keep an eye out. We have the Morrigan, Ireland's Goddess, Sovereign Secrets from the Irish View. Now this one looks really, 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 really good. I'm not someone who feels particularly drawn to work with the Morrigan at this point in my practice, but I love learning more about the history and folklore of different goddesses and spiritual beings. So this one goes as follows. An esteemed Irish author and Morrigan devotee, Reverend Lora O'Brien, presents the captivating mythology and spiritual significance of this enigmatic goddess. The importance of the Morrigan cannot fully be appreciated without a deep understanding of her roots in Irish culture and folklore. Whether you're new to her or devoted already, this book helps you learn, experience, and integrate the lessons of the Morrigan into your life. O'Brien dispels common myths about this goddess and provides many ways to build your relationship with her through personal practice. Explore her history, discover how she is connected to the land, and learn why she is known as the goddess of sovereignty. Use more than 50 exercises and journal prompts to better appreciate the roles and shapes she embodies. This book makes the Morrigan mythology relevant for today. It will help you navigate the change that is coming for us all. I think that looks really, really good. And I always appreciate books that cover kind of different ways of connecting, have different exercises. I think that's really, really useful. Because one of the biggest and most common questions I actually get asked is, okay, well, I've learned a little bit about a goddess or a god or just a deity in general. What now? And I think that books that contain the kind of continuing practice are actually incredibly useful. On the 12th of August in both the UK and USA, we have Wicca for everyday life, Celtic spells, chants and rituals for busy witches. This Celtic Wiccan high priestess reveals how to make witchcraft work for you with quick and easy ways to make your life more magical every day. Bring the power of Celtic Wicca into your daily life, from magical ways to cook and arrange your home to calming chants that combat stress while travelling or at work, including spells to help you find your dream job and grow your business, enhance your connections with friends and family, and nurture your own self-love. These simple, speedy ideas can be practiced at any time to fit in with the natural rhythms and routines of your day. There are also ways to super boost your spells by weaving your magic on specific days of the week or by aligning with the seasons to live in tune with nature and the world around you. You don't need complicated ceremonies or specialist ingredients to experience the power of witchcraft. This feel-good guide is packed with everything you need to live a magical life, from store cupboard standbys to candles and crystals. It's never been easier to improve your health and well-being, strengthen your friendships, succeed at work, and bring harmony into your home. Now, that's definitely one for all of you who are very heavily invested in the Wicca, perhaps just starting on your magical journey. For me, while this one looks quite interesting, I am going to skip it just because I don't personally practice Wicca, and I probably have way too many books on the subject already, to be honest. On the 14th of August, we do have another that I spoke about last month. This is now coming out in the UK. It's already been released in America. This is Feral Magic. Unleash your inner animal self. Rewild yourself, return to an ancient, deeper way of being, reconnect with the primordial animalistic world of the spirits and the powers of nature that have been patiently waiting for you to return. Once you become open to this reality, the spirits of nature will welcome you, bond with you, and help you. In Feral Magic, the author gives readers the tools they need to locate and work with their inner animal, as well as with sacred deities and personal animal spirits. Through spells, rituals, and meditations, as well as shape-shifting and trance states, readers will learn how to tap into their natural instincts, intuition, and insight. Practicing feral magic will lead you to form deeper intuitive bonds with your animal allies and find the inherent power you already possess. The operating principles of intuitive, spiritual, animalistic practices will enable you to better acknowledge and engage with all sorts of woodland spirits and remind you that you too are a spirit of nature. We also have on the 14th of August, already released in the US, Entering Hekate's Cauldron, Spells, Spirits, Rites and Rituals. This is very much for any of you who really want to work deeper with Hekate as a deity and also have the previous books on this topic. I do believe it is Entering Hekate's Cave and Entering Hekate's Garden. I told you my memory's not super great, so I'm just going to have to hope that's right. A comprehensive overview of modern Hecatean witchcraft. Entering Hekate's Cauldron is about doing witchcraft, specifically witchery centering on the beloved goddess Hekate, with her etheric cauldron as the source. This book is for anyone interested in deepening their spiritual journey as a witch. Entering Hekate's Cauldron completes Cyndi Brannen's trilogy, including Entering Hekate's Garden and Entering Hekate's Cave, which may be read in any order. And I think that's really, really useful to know. If you aren't sure whether or not a book is going to be for you or an entire book series, but you like the look of, say, the third book, You can just get the third book and then read the others if you do find that you are particularly drawn to it. I like the fact that it's a little bit more flexible. So this is written in the style of a traditional Book of Shadows. The contents cover many of the common practices of modern witchcraft, ranging from personal development to spells, rites, and rituals. Beginning with foundational practices such as setting up an altar and connecting to a spirit guide, the book then offers instructions for understanding and honouring Hekate, a deep dive into correspondences, including a guide to spellcrafting, connecting with animal spirits, crafting rituals, and performing initiations. Whew, a lot of words. There's a lot in this video, so I apologise if I'm going a little bit fast. You can always slow me down. YouTube has a little feature where you can allow me to talk in like half speed or quarter speed, or you can do a me and put everything on 2x speed and burn through videos super fast. That's another way of doing it. Also on the 14th of August in the UK and USA is The Busy, Lazy Green Witch, a no-nonsense guide to green witchcraft and magic for the modern witch on the go. This is a Kindle book, and that's why it's probably going to be publishing worldwide on the same date. Ever felt called to nature, but too tired, too busy, or too city-bound to do anything about it? The idea of practicing green witchcraft sounds beautiful, but also exhausting or simply impossible. The Busy, Lazy Green Witch was written just for you. Whether you're working a 9 to 5, dodging laundry piles, or simply overwhelmed by heavy ritual guides that require a full moon, 3 hours, and organic herb garden that you don't have, this book gets it. The author blends practical magic with a refreshingly honest voice, part big sister, part herbalist next door, and 100% a city witch who understands what it's like to squeeze spirituality between Zoom calls and microwave dinners. With years of personal practice rooted in green witchcraft, herbalism, and a deep love for sustainability, the author doesn't preach perfection. Instead, she shares how a grounded, earth-honouring magical life is actually possible, even if your altar is a windowsill and your wand a reusable straw. In this book, you will cover how to turn your favourite morning drink into a powerful daily ritual without changing a thing, just your mindset. Ways to recognise magic already happening all around you, even if you haven't touched your crystals in weeks. A toolkit of spells and practices so simple you could do them in your bathrobe or on your lunch break. Clever ways to work with herbs, plants and tools you already have. Yes, even those slightly wilted ones in your fridge. How to keep your practice strong through burnout, life changes and full-on magical slumps. You don't need acres of land, hours of free time, or an encyclopedic knowledge of witchcraft to live magically. The Busy, Lazy Green Witch is your permission slip to start where you are, with what you have, and make it meaningful. Yes, I think this one looks really, really good. I think this one looks really good, and I will probably be checking this one out. Is it something I necessarily need to get? No. I mean, none of these books are a need to get, let's face it. These are all I want to get, would like to get. I do like the look of this one, though. On the 15th of August in the UK and USA, we have Witchscope. Are you a crystal witch or a green witch? Do you know the difference between an elemental witch and a shadow witch? This fascinating guide brings together the traditional 12 signs of the zodiac with witch types. In an easy-to-follow format that follows the year, beginning with January, the book reveals your witch's type, strengths, and magical practices. Each witch type is complete with example spells, rituals, and potions. Each zodiac sign and its corresponding witch type is explained in detail. The characteristics of each witch type are discussed, along with their influence on love, sexuality, relationships, money, health, and career. Also discussed are witch archetypes, familiars, and the Wheel of the Year, along with the traditional festivals found in witchcraft. Each of the 12 witch types has a corresponding chart that covers everything from specific herbs to their famous witch counterparts. This fun guide aims to help in your magical practice by explaining how powerful the influence of the planets was at the moment of your birth, and how this can determine your ideal witch type. Find your witch type with the Witchscope and utilize your magical power from the planets. So this one sounds like it could be a fun read. I do feel that I need to say, though, that the type of witch you are is something that you decide. It's not something that anybody else can decide for you. It is something that is used to describe the majority of your magical practice at that given moment. So for me, I would consider myself to be a hearth witch, but previously I have been a green witch, an elemental witch, a storm witch, a sea witch, because it was the way I would describe the majority of my practice during that time period to somebody else. So if I were to talk to to another magical practitioner and say that I was a sea witch, they would be able to recognize that the large majority of my craft is either done by the sea, with items from the sea, or working with oceanic or sea-based energies. These might include spirits, gods and goddesses, elementals, and the like. It's a way of describing our practice to other people, not a box that you have to conform to. So this one's definitely a fun read. I just don't want anyone to feel that the specific month that they were born is a determining factor in what they have to do. It might determine the things that you are perhaps better at or more attuned to, but I don't want you to feel stuck in this as though you can't change. We then have another almanac coming out on the 19th in the UK and USA. This is the Practical Witches Almanac 2026 Green Witchcraft. Okay, this one looks so good. I'm really excited about this one. On the 21st of August in both the UK and USA, we have Devon's Forgotten Witches, 1860 to 1910. Now this is by Tracy and Mark Norman. I have spoken about their books before, at least I should have. I really enjoy them. I had the great pleasure of meeting them recently, and such interesting people. And this is their new book. So, witchcraft and witches throughout history have long captured the imagination. Yet, hidden away in archives are records of long-forgotten cases. Many of these are tragic, some are unusual, perhaps even inexplicable, but all are fascinating in their own right. Devon's Forgotten Witches 1860 to 1910 takes a deep dive through these records, bringing to the surface accusations of witchcraft in this county that have languished, unacknowledged in the British newspaper archive for decades. These are stories of ordinary people whose lives were touched in some way by witchcraft. Tracy Norman and Mark Norman examine these cases within their historical context, pulling together details from various news reports to explore what might have really happened. This work provides an intriguing snapshot for press coverage in the Victorian and Edwardian eras, showing how the public were urged to view those who still put their faith in incredible superstition. Most importantly, the retelling of these stories gives a new voice to those whom the historical record has silenced. Yes. Yes, that sounds incredible. I will be getting that at some point, maybe once my to be read pile has gone down a little bit. I'll be honest, I kind of stalled on that. I really need to keep going. On the 25th of August in the UK, it's already released in the US, we have the Teens Book of Shadows, Star Signs, Spells, Potions, and Powers. Hack your life in the magical way, conjure up love, manifest good grades, and tackle teenage problems with ease in Patricia Telesco's guidebook. Witch it up and take control of your life using the power of magic. Typical teen problems are a thing of the past with the help of the Teens Book of Shadows. A perfect guide for the witch just starting out. You will discover a myriad of ways to handle everything from dating to driving exams. Personalize spells for every occasion, conjure up success in your school life, and learn seasonal spells to help enhance your power. You'll even discover different methods of divination. Being a teenager is hard enough. Make life easier and build a strong foundation for the future with the Teens Book of Shadows. This title was previously published in 2004. I have already kind of covered my thoughts on this, so I'm not going to go over those again. So before we continue, how's everyone doing? Do you need to go and get a drink? That's totally fine if you do, because the next publication is one that is a re-release. From a really long time ago, actually, in the grand scheme of re-releases. When we see them, they're usually from the mid-2000s, the early 2010s. No, this, which is coming out on the 26th of August in the UK and USA, is actually a re-release from 1983. Which is considerably older than the majority of republications. This is the Book of Runes, the best-selling book of divination complete with a set of rune stones. Based on a tradition over 1,000 years old, the runes are seen by many as a contemporary oracle and collectively have established themselves as a remarkable aid in practical decision-making. A huge success with over 900,000 copies sold since its original publication in 1983, the Book of Runes has proved to be a modern classic, making the runes one of the most profoundly useful self-help tools of the new century. This new edition includes a drawstring pouch of runes so the reader can begin learning, practicing, and divining right away. On the 26th of August, we have the Year of the Witch 2026 wall calendar. It's another one that we spoke about before. You do not need all of them. I really want to emphasize this point. They often cover so many of the same things. Now, remember earlier how I said that I like to include different books that some people are going to really like and some people are just not really going to care about? This is another one of those. This is called Pantheon The Manoans. It's coming out on the 26th of August in the UK. I will have to double check the release date for the US because I can't immediately find it, but I will let you know on the screen. Journey through the labyrinth to meet the Manoan deities of ancient Crete, who are still very much alive in the modern world. The Manoan family of deities is presided over by a trio of mother goddesses representing the three sacred realms of land, sea, and sky. You might recognise some of the names of this pantheon. Now, I'm going to warn you, I'm terrible at pronunciation. I will give this a good old try, but if I'm wrong, I'm really, really sorry. Ariadne, Dionysus, Rhea, Amalthea, even Minos, Arachne, and the Minotaur. These deities continue to fascinate us as they draw us into the labyrinth, the sacred maze that leads us on the adventure of a lifetime. Now, it's definitely not going to be for everybody. Some people are going to be like, I'm just not interested. And some of you are going to immediately, like, your ears will have perked up. You'll be like, oh, that actually looks quite good. So for me, I'm probably not going to get this one just because it's not a pantheon that I particularly want to be working with personally, but could be interesting if you want to learn more. On the 26th of August, we have the Wiccan Wall Calendar. This is an art calendar. There's a lot of these coming out. A lot. So in the next few months, there might actually be even more, so I will warn you of that. And just to prove my point, on the 26th of August in the UK, we also have the Year of the Witch 2026 weekly planner, because that's another one. Honestly, there's so many of them right now. If you're drawn to any of them, fantastic. If you want to give one as a gift, absolutely amazing. But there are so many of them that I think we're going to be quite bombarded with them this year. On the 26th of August in the UK, it's coming out on, I believe, the 1st of September in the US, we have another Pagan Portals book. This is Arianrhod, Celtic goddess of fate, fortune, and destiny. Now, I have said that I don't really like Pagan Portal books a lot over the last, how long have I been doing my videos for? 2018, 7 years. Really? Oh God. But this year, they have massively picked up what they're doing. Like, I feel like they have hit their stride now with their interesting topics. And this is by Christopher Hughes. Now, I really like Christopher Hughes' work. I have several of his books. I've gone to several of his talks. Really, really interesting and knowledgeable. With scholarship, vision, and practical techniques to develop devotional relationships with meaningful rituals, druid and writer Christopher Hughes takes you on a journey through myth and mystery to meet Arianrhod, the fiercely independent goddess of the silver wheel and weaver of fates and fortunes. With never-before-seen material in the English language and hidden wisdom, you will be ferried across this goddess's tumultuous seas to find her true nature beneath the starry skies of Arianrhod. That actually sounds so good. What is happening? What is happening? I was never expecting to like so many Pagan Portal books, and this year, I've been told what for, honestly. I have been told because they have really, really stepped up their game. And then lastly this month, we have on the 28th of August in the UK, the Book of Witchcraft, The Complete Guide. Much more than a simple spell book, learn how to build a magical practice that's right for you, with this all-in-one practical guide to witchcraft that will help you find your power, develop your practice, and share your skills. Encompassing essentials including tarot, astrology, spellcasting, divination, and sigils, along with key information on everything from crystals to the Wheel of the Year, the Book of Witchcraft gives you the tools to become the witch you want to be and seek the source of your own power. Accompanied by stunning artwork that evoke classical magical imagery, this timeless guide is ideal for both self-described baby witches and more experienced spellcasters seeking a beautiful grimoire to accompany their daily rituals. Whether you need advice on setting up your first altar or want to share your knowledge with your coven, craft a practice that's uniquely yours with this timeless guide to witchcraft. So this one does sound interesting. I don't want to end this video with me like nitpicking, but I'm going to just a little bit. I really, really wish, because I do believe that this is something that a lot of authors are either pushing for themselves or are being told to push for. It's okay if your book isn't going to be for all levels of experience, right? It's totally fine if your book is just for beginners or just for advanced practitioners. I think it's incredibly difficult, actually, to write a book that covers every range of ability and do so well. I actually think it's probably pretty impossible because people are at so many different levels, people know so many different things, and so it's okay, you know, if a book isn't meant for everybody. And I've noticed this happening more and more recently, but to be honest, as an experienced practitioner, I don't need to be learning about divination or tarot or sigils. And so for me, as a more experienced practitioner, I don't think this would be super beneficial to me personally. That doesn't mean it won't be for somebody else. It just very much is going to depend on your level in your magical practice and what it is that you really want to dive into and what you've kind of already done before. So that's the last book that I could find that's coming out this month. I do have a little bit of housekeeping though, so don't turn the video off just yet. Last month, I said that my favourite book in the entire video was Ensouling the Effigy, and honestly, so excited about that book. But I was contacted by the author, and they let me know that the book is going to be a bit delayed. I believe that they said it's now going to be releasing in October. The book was considerably bigger than it was intended to be, and so re-edits have had to be made. So anyone who was really excited about that book, just a heads up, it is going to be coming out, I believe, in October. I will double check and I'll put the date on the screen if I do have it. Okay, so I would love to know what your favourite books were from this video. I actually think that my favourite book is the one by Mark and Tracy Norman. I like the look of the busy, lazy green witch. That one looks really interesting to me. But which one is it? Oh my goodness, am I going to be able to find it? The Morrigan one looks really good as well. So does the Ariane Rod one. Where is it? Have I lost it? I usually have pictures in my document so that I can find the books that I'm looking for. And of course, I didn't put pictures in this time and now I can't find anything. What was it called? The Devon... Here we go. Devon's Forgotten Witches, 1860 to 1910. That one is the one I'm most excited about. I would love to know what you're most excited about. And thank you so much for getting through this video. I know that these are quite long ones, so if you do enjoy them, feel free to give them a like. Post some comments in the comment section, even if it's just, let's say, some book emojis, and I will try to heart as many of them as I can, because I always love responding to comments where possible. And if you do enjoy the magical content in this channel or in this video, feel free to hit subscribe. I try to do magical content every single week. I actually think I only said half of those words, but you know what? I'm going with it. And if you would like more witchy, astrology, altar, Sabbats, book kind of videos, feel free to check out my Patreon. I'll leave it linked in the description box. And with that being said, I hope you're staying safe. I hope you have a marvelous magical day, and I will see you in the next video. Okay, bye!